Is Carlos Sainz holding back Ferrari from an easy 2022 Constructors' Championship? That's what we're going to answer today. Everybody, welcome back to the F1 Pit Stop. First, little outfit change. That's more like it. Now today we're going to talk about Carlos Sainz, who he is as a driver, and how he did last year, and now that he has a powerful car underneath him, how he's going to do in this 2022 season. We're only 3 races in, so a lot can change with upgrades to cars or, what have it. But from what we can tell so far, let's take a look at how Carlos Sainz has been doing. So first, looking back to 2021, the driver standings were, no surprise, Mercedes and Red Bull at the top. However, despite those 4 drivers, it was of course Max, Lewis, Valtteri, Sergio, and then Carlos Sainz. Yeah, Carlos Sainz was 5th in the Drivers' Championship in the Ferrari, which was clearly not at the level that it's at this year compared to all the other cars. Last year, everyone thought that McLaren had a lock on, the 3rd spot in the Constructors' Championship. Ferrari had made a little bit of upgrades throughout the season, and Leclerc and Sainz were able to really excel, especially Sainz passing Norris in the Drivers' Championship. Now, going into this year, Ferrari's at the top by a good margin too. After the first 3 races, Ferrari has 104 points, while the next closest team, Mercedes, shockingly enough, they shouldn't be number 2, has 65 points, followed by Red Bull and McLaren. It's no real shocker that those 4 teams are the top 4 teams, but Ferrari number 1 by a huge margin. Anything below that, still up for grabs. With the Ferrari being so dominant this year, there's also been one driver who's been super dominant this year, being Charles Leclerc, of course. I mean, just through qualifying, even practices, the races, he has been rock solid. Basically, nothing has gone wrong, Max got him in the 2nd race in Saudi Arabia. But, that was good racing, and really, it was anybody's races. The safety cars came into play, and you can't fault Leclerc for any of his driving. But a team is made up of 2 people, not just one. So Charles Leclerc's teammate, Carlos Sainz, who was formerly at McLaren 2 years back, he's going to be the one who, as you could say the 2nd driver this season, really needs to step it up. Looking at these 2022 driver standings, Leclerc by a big margin this early in the season, 71 points. Next, shockingly enough, George Russell with 37. However, bringing up 3rd, only 4 points down, is Carlos Sainz. So he's definitely still in the battle. And this is really good, especially since Australia, he didn't even finish the race. So 33 points with only 2 finishes. And there's nothing saying that in Australia he wouldn't have finished 2nd compared to Leclerc if he hadn't spun out and got stuck in the gravel. Thanks a lot to those hard tires. Now it's pretty clear, of course, only 3 races in, but it's pretty clear that Charles Leclerc has an advantage over Sainz, and that advantage has just been racing this season. Last season, of course, Carlos he was quicker, he had a quicker pace in the Ferrari. This season, Leclerc's really stepped it up in qualifying, in the races. There's never been any team orders to switch around drivers. Sorry, always thinking of Valtteri and Lewis in that one. It is undoubtedly, every qualifying and every race, been Leclerc is faster than Sainz. Now looking at the first race in Bahrain, Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc, not in that order, went 1-2. Really incredible for them. Looking at the 2nd race in Saudi Arabia, Carlos Sainz 3rd. Look, there's no doubt that the Red Bull, Max Verstappen, he came in 2nd. Leclerc just kidding, totally messed that up. It was Max, then Leclerc, then Sainz. There's no doubt that the Red Bull is going to be battling for the constructors as well. They're having some reliability issues. There's no doubt about that. However, Max is a phenomenal driver. Perez is a phenomenal driver. I have no doubt that this season, despite what it says right now, is going to be Red Bull versus Ferrari. Even here in this Saudi Arabia Grand Prix, the 2nd race of the season, you can see that Max Verstappen, with his time for the entire race, hour 24 minutes, 19 seconds, Leclerc was only 0.5 behind him. The matter of the fact is Carlos Sainz 8 seconds behind him. So there's definitely a gap in pace. Now, obviously pit stops play a role in that, and of course that there are different aspects and variables that play a part in that race, but I can confidently say that if it was Max versus Carlos Sainz, say Leclerc had to retire early or something, Max would have pulled away from Sainz. So finally we go to the third race, the Heineken Australia Grand Prix. Sainz qualified 9th because of car issues. Not his fault. He easily, would have been top 3. There's no reason to think otherwise. And then when it came to the race, on the first lap, he spun out. They went for a different strategy. They tried to do hard tires just to push as long as possible. I mean, we saw Alex Albon go the entire race besides the last lap, then have to pit. So it was a good strategy. He just wasn't able to get those tires up to temperature. Ended up spinning off into the gravel, trying to be a little aggressive coming up from 9th, and wasn't able to get out, so his race was over. It's a silly mistake like that will add up, and in the end it'll cost you titles and championships. I have no doubt that Carlos Sainz is a valuable addition to the team, which he clearly is. And honestly, I don't know if Ferrari would take any other driver in this place. You could say maybe a Norris, just because him and Leclerc are both young, both great drivers, and they would have a chance as a super young team to really build something going into the future. Or, I mean, dream team, Charles and Max. Could you imagine that? That'd be 1-2 every race in a Ferrari, not the Red Bull. I do think Ferrari made a great choice. Leclerc, Sainz, that's a dream team. They do have the potential to win this. Leclerc, obviously, killing it. Sainz, you're on my F1 fantasy team. Please don't have a repeat of last last race in Australia. Looking ahead to this weekend, this is on April 19th. We have Imola coming up. Ferrari's home turf, so there's no reason why Ferrari shouldn't be able to go 1-2 or 1-3 in qualifying, and then bring home 2 podium spots in the race, looking for a pole, of course. I'm sure Red Bull will be up in that mix too. These key races, Ferrari already has such an advantage, and they could have had such a bigger advantage going into the season with doing so phenomenally these first 3 races. But every race is going to count, especially, and I love this, that they're having a sprint race this weekend on Saturday before the race on Sunday. Hopefully nothing goes wrong there. Ferrari's able to capitalize, maybe even make some moves in that sprint race to have a better position for the race itself. The bottom line is, I think Carlos Sainz is a phenomenal addition to the team, and I think Ferrari, with the 2 drivers they have and with the car that they have, 22 is their season for the taking, and if they don't, that'll be on them. Nothing more to say about it. Carlos Sainz, you have the seal of approval. Everyone, thank you for watching. Please, in the comments, let me know what's going on. Let me know what you think about Carlos Sainz, what you think about Ferrari this season, and if you think it's theirs for the taking, let me know if Carlos Sainz is able to beat last year's championship in the season. Very excited, can't get enough of the Ferrari. Subscribe to the channel for more F1 stuff coming out. It's going to be a really exciting season. Thanks for watching.